you have to keep in mind as a leader is talking to people based off of what's relevant to them.
Atomic Souls Podcast.
I think that's something that a lot of people fail at is the intentionality. They'll get so focused on an end goal, and maybe the end goal is just, I want to get to the weekend because something fun's going on.
Right.
But we lose the intentionality of the moment and the day.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of failure happens at.
Yeah.
Go back.
I think we're about to say the same thing.
What?
Back to leadership.
I was going to bring it back to leadership. Yeah.
You go first.
Well, I was going to say, bringing it back to leadership, that's something that we have to do by example. We can't just show up and we're like, hey, whatever problem pops up today, I'm going to solve for you. No.
Right.
We need to show up with a lot of intention of what we're doing that day.
Yeah.
And obviously stuff's going to come up. We're going to have to pivot our schedule a little bit, but there needs to be intentionality to every single moment. So our team can see that, and then they feed off of that. And that's real leadership.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've seen like the product of us being too focused on the bigger picture and how that impacts the team negatively, because then we're just like, oh, kind of over here and like missing. And then when we can circle back and like refocus, we're intentional about coaching people through certain things. Like, I don't want to like, onboarding can be a lot, but if we do it heavy, we've realized doing it like intentional and intense in the beginning leads to better outcomes for the whole team and better training and
I think
less chaos or mistakes.
It also emphasizes the value of middle management. People think middle management is just, why do you have that? That's pointless. Every business should be flat. You got the leader and then everybody else underneath them. And the reality is that's not the way things scale. A big disconnect that we'll have when we get too focused on the future, if you don't have that middle management area, the communication gets completely disconnected, because the vision that we're seeing and we're focused on is years away from the day-to-day that our team is seeing right now. And so our communication is not connected. And that's where middle management is good when your middle managers are good. Is you can have kind of that bridge of communication, like a liaison, I guess, to where, hey, that's the goal that we're trying to achieve, but I'm going to talk to you based off of what you're experiencing on a day-to-day to help move us towards that goal.
Right. Keep them connected to the vision and keep leadership connected to the boots on the ground. Yeah,
the book that we've been going through in that little leadership group that I'm doing, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, it doesn't really talk directly to this, but it references a lot of management and leadership being two different skills. And I think that's very important to recognize and to value independently of each other. Just because you're a good leader doesn't necessarily mean you're a good manager, and vice versa. A leader is, the trailblazer that is defining the direction that they're going to go. Yeah. But the managers who actually makes that happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think if there's a disconnect between, I think we've been looking at this recently we have a great team, boots on the ground, they're killing it. And I think we're trying to get ahead of the loss of vision. And so we've been talking about like doing a presentation on like where the company's headed and all of that, like growth opportunities for everyone, because we don't want to lose that momentum. I think in the times coming, there's going to be a balance of like keeping people in on that, transparent with like, hey, this is where we're going. It's not just a normal IOP. Like we're trying to like actually do some big shit here. Yeah,
for sure. I think it goes back to, I guess this isn't a window of tolerance, but like a window of perspective. You have to, when you're communicating with team members, you have to bring things down to the perspective that they understand and that's relevant to them. There's a lot of stuff that we talk about that's very relevant to us because it's relevant to the business as a whole and growth that Sal don't give a shit about because it's not relevant to him. Yeah. He shouldn't give a shit about it. Yeah. And so I think that's the things that, you have to keep in mind as a leader is talking to people based off of what's relevant to them. This is something that happens that happens a lot on the boat. One of the biggest complaints that guys on deck have is the captains tell them a bunch of useless information. They're like, hey, we're going to go to this dock and such said this, and they got this other thing going on over there. And they're like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Right. Just tell me what's relevant to me. Is it a port side or starboard side tie off? Yeah. And that happens across the board in business. I love referencing stuff on the boat. Most people have no clue what I'm talking about. But for me, it's very easy to have these like really prevalent metaphors because everything is so actionable on the boat.
Yeah.
But in business, the same thing happens.
Yeah,
I'll
but
catch
it's the
myself
corporate.
sometimes, talking to a team member about something, and I can see their eyes glaze over. And it's like, I don't need to tell them this. It's not relevant
Right,
to them.
yeah.
And if they do try and absorb it and figure out, like, why the fuck's he telling me this? Then I'm going to overwhelm them.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have to be particular about, we talk about this a lot, like circles of communication. Like we have an inner circle that we communicate, me, you, and Scott. And then we extend past that a little bit and we have middle management and then we extend past that. But the conversations that happen with the three of us are not the conversations that happen with the 20 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I think that's the downfall of a lot of corporate places. I'm reading that how Google is made or something like that. And that's what it's kind of getting into in the first few chapters is like the downfall of Google and how they had to basically restructure the entire company so that it would be smaller teams, more like a franchise model, because it got too big and people were either bored out their minds or unproductive or not creative because there wasn't the energy of the kind of short leadership chain.
Yeah.
And it was just all structure and policy and procedure. And it was just too big of a system to
well, it'll also become
growing.
a bureaucracy too, to where, you want everybody to have an opinion, and not that people shouldn't have opinions, but at some point somebody has to be the decision maker.
Yeah.
And when you become a bureaucracy like that, it's so difficult to be nimble and make strategic decisions because everybody's got to sign off on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there's 10 levels of management, it has to be signed off by everyone. If the CEO's up here, decisions need to be made down here.
Right.
They kind of cut that in half.
Also, you'll get up to, we have it to some degree, right? I'm not going to make an executive decision without you and Scott signing off on it. Thankfully, our communication is very good and it's just the three of us.
Yeah.
But I have other companies that I connect with and they'll have 12 people on a board and all 12 have to sign off before they make an executive decision. And 2 of the 12 are attorneys and they're like, well, I don't know if I would word it quite like that.
Attorneys are the worst.
Right.
We love you, Trey.
But they're doing their due diligence,
their
right?
job, yeah.
And to some degree, to make progress, you just at some point got to say, fuck it. We'll ask for forgiveness later.
Yeah. There's a balance for sure.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly worried about the fallout, that will hinder the creativity and the pushing the bar and the gray area and the new. And so you can't just live in fear.
Yeah.
You have to take some leap of faith.
Yeah. Well, I think that's entrepreneurship, right? That's what's the saying that Elon said? Entrepreneurship is chewing glass and staring into the abyss. That's that's 100% accurate. It's a miserable experience, but you can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah.
But it's because you're constantly taking leaps of faith and you're constantly betting on yourself.
Yeah. But if you have 10 bosses to make a decision, you're just be like, oh, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
Right. Well, that's the point I was getting to is you can't have 10 people that want to be the entrepreneur and take those leaps of faith.
Yeah.
You need 1 or 2 people that are defining the direction you're going to go, the leader, but then they need to be backed up by managers that actually look at it and say, hold up, this is how we can strategically accomplish that goal.
Yeah. I think that's why franchise models work so well compared to big corporations, because they're typically managed at location. And so I think that's what I see in Google doing, and maybe hopefully some other companies are
well, franchise is a big corporation. They just break it down.
I know. Yeah, I'm saying that's I think more successful than a big Google or Zoom or whatever. It's you can have these smaller teams that are managed and independent. It's
yeah.
Seems more successful, depending on the management and leadership in place.